Houston real estate is absolutely booming right now, but that doesn't mean every house is a good buy. And I've sold hundreds of homes over the last couple of years, and I keep seeing buyers fall into the same traps, the buyers that don't work with us. And today I want to caution you about that. So today I'm revealing these 6 types of homes you should never buy, no matter how tempting the price tag may look. And wait until you hear about the #1 problem that affects almost every single house in Houston, and something most buyers miss until it's way too late. Now, first up, and this is very important, is homes with foundation problems. Now, Houston sits on this clay-heavy soil. The soil expands when it's wet and it shrinks when it dries out, and that constant movement puts a lot of pressure on your foundation. And we're talking about up to 14,000 pounds per square foot of force. That's like having an airplane sitting on your foundation. And so, just like those flip houses I'll show you later, what looks good on the surface may really be hiding some serious problems underneath. And in Houston, we get very hot, humid summers, really followed by heavy rains, and that combination is perfect for foundation movement and damage. Now, when you walk into a house, you want to look for cracks near doors and windows. And I'm going to give you a little trick, which is to bring a tennis ball with you and put it right in the middle of the floor and see if it starts to roll one way or the other. Oh, and another trick that you can do is open up the doors. So just open them up about halfway and see if they swing open or shut on their own. Then you can go outside and look for stair-step cracks along the brick in the foundation. Now, because foundation repairs in Houston are not cheap, you often are looking at tens of thousands of dollars. And most home warranties don't usually cover that after the first 10 years. Now, at least with new construction homes, they typically come with a 10-year foundation warranty, which is great. But if you're buying an existing home, you have to keep in mind where the home is in its foundation life. Now, the good news is that most homes settle within those first 3 to 5 years. And so if you make it through that window, you're probably okay. Now, here's another tip that can save you thousands. Is you want to water around your foundation during the summer months. Keep that soil consistently moist so that it doesn't pull away from that slab. You should get you a good sprinkler system, or you can just water it yourself. Actually, sometimes you'll go in your backyard and it'll look like the Sahara Desert. You know, whenever you see those big cracks running throughout, that's what you don't want to see, especially around your foundation. Now, most new construction homes as well come with a foundation irrigation around that. So you can actually turn that on to have a drip around the foundation. So foundation issues really are something that you really can spot early on, but the next group of homes to avoid often hides those problems, so they aren't as easy to catch during a quick tour. So let's talk about foreclosures and condemned properties. As you know, that price tag can really look really attractive, and you've been watching a lot of reality TV, and flipping homes really are buying foreclosed homes, and it makes it looks really simple. You know, you just run down to the courthouse and throw a couple bids out there, and viola, you've got yourself a home, and $100,000 or $200,000, $300,000 less than the market price, which is really not the case. Now, of course, that low price tag could look really tempting, but really there's a reason these places sell for less, and it's not usually in your favor. But foreclosed in Houston are usually sold as is with no seller's disclosures required in Texas. So you're buying a mystery box really, which could be fine, but could also be a complete mess. Plus, closing with banks can take forever. Actually, this last property I just closed was on a foreclosure, and we had to do 2 extensions. Actually, it took me almost 90 days to close it because it was a foreclosure through the bank. They're just really not that really non-responsive, not that motivated for some reason, which I know they've got to get these homes off their books, but for some reason they just really drag their feet whenever it comes down to responses and any requests that you may have, any contingencies that may come into play. So be mindful of that, okay? But also, you can't even really use certain types of loans on these types of properties. They don't allow you to buy foreclosed homes. Um, Foreclosures often sit empty for quite some time, usually with no monitoring either. I mean, nobody from the bank is going to go by and check on that. So during that time, you could have pipes that freeze or burst. You could have roof leaks that go unnoticed or unfixed. You can have rats or other pests that move in. It's subject to vandalism on these types of homes as well. So the type of damage could also be just as bad living with noise pollution, which we're going to talk about here in the next section. And then also you have to account for the previous owners. Most of the times, if they were getting foreclosed on, they may not have been taking very good care of the place in the first place. If you're a first-time home buyer or you've never done a renovation, you should probably stay away from these types of projects, foreclosures, and condemned homes. They could actually turn into a nightmare. They often need a ton of work before you can actually live in them. And the renovation costs could get out of control. And there's always hidden surprises whenever you start tearing up walls or floors or looking at plumbing. But on top of that, you're probably going to face higher interest rates as well, fewer loan options. Sometimes you can inherit tenants who could legally stay in the property for up to 90 days. So in Texas, the law gives previous renters up to 90 days to move out. So if you need to move into something right away as well, you've got to account for that. But if you still want a good deal without all of that risk, you can look for homes that have been on the market for quite some time. We refer to those as stale listings. They might need some updates, but they're typically livable and way less risky than foreclosures. So those sellers are also more willing to deal since their home hasn't sold. And right now we're getting tons of concessions for our buyers. Now we've seen way too many families who didn't work with us lose their savings on these types of traps in Houston. So if you're serious about buying a home here without falling into those expensive pitfalls, make sure you subscribe. That way you can stay up to date with everything here that's going on in the Houston market. And of course, as a subscriber, you get access to all of my neighborhood tours, community tours, and updates about everything that's happening right here in the Houston area. Now, speaking of mistakes, we can move on to another type of home that really faces some unique challenges here in Houston, especially with our crazy weather and patterns. They say here in Houston that if you don't like the weather, just give it a minute and it will change. Now, next up on the list is going to be mobile homes. And I don't want to say that you should never buy a mobile home, but here in Southeast Texas, we need to think about safety because we definitely get hurricanes and tornadoes around here. In Harris County alone, but did you know that Houston averages about 3 tornadoes every year? Now, by the way, I've lived here for over 30 years and I've never had an issue with tornadoes or hurricanes. We are directly hit by a hurricane on average of about once every 5.5 years, with the last major hurricane being Hurricane Harvey back in 2017, causing catastrophic flooding and more than about 100 deaths between here and Louisiana. I do advise getting good flood insurance. One of the most important things you can do is find out if a home is actually located in the floodplain or not. Not every part of Houston is in the floodplain. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship with it, but I wouldn't worry about it. Clearly I'm still living here after 30 years. But the fact on mobile homes is that in these storms are pretty scary. Weather data shows that people are 15 to 20 times more likely to get hurt in a mobile home during a tornado or hurricane compared to a regular house. So even well-anchored manufactured homes really don't hold up in these bad storms. A tornado or hurricane with winds that might just damage a regular home could completely destroy a manufactured home. And again, I've lived here for over 30 years. And while I've been lucky to really avoid direct hurricane problems or tornado problems, they can definitely come through the area. Now, as far as mobile homes, they're usually the first to go. Now, insurance for manufactured homes costs more as well, and you don't really get the same coverage as regular homeowners insurance. So plus many areas around Houston have rules about where you can put a mobile home on top of that, and many neighborhoods don't even allow them at all. You have to typically find a mobile home park. So if you're looking for housing options in Houston, there are many other types of properties worth considering that offer better protection and potential value growth, or sometimes in this extreme weather that we have. So beyond the house itself, where your home is located really makes a huge difference in your living experience here in Houston. I mean, let's look at some of the high-risk spots you may want to avoid. Homes in high-risk locations in Houston that covers everything from noise problems to flood-prone areas as well. So living near highways like I-10, I-45, Beltway 8, or Highway 59 can come with constant noise. High-risk locations, homes near railroad tracks, or some neighborhoods in Humble or South Houston have some nice neighborhoods that are near Bush Intercontinental or Hobby Airport, have flight paths flying over homes every 2 to 3 minutes. It can be a shock once you actually live there. So the noise problem is similar to those really surprise HOA bills. I'll explain that in just a few minutes, but in both of those things you don't notice until you typically have bought it. But what's funny is that people tour these homes during quiet periods and then they fall in love. Then they move in and realize that planes are just flying over all day long. So always visit a potential home at different times, maybe in the morning, afternoon, in the evening time, to really understand what you're getting into. Houston is also known for heavy rain and flooding, so flood zones are critical to understand. Even if flood insurance isn't required, that doesn't mean you should look into it. Areas like Katy and Cypress and the Woodlands typically have newer construction and better drainage, which helps reduce the risk. And I mean, with all of these potential storms and flooding and rain, that can really wreck roofs and cars. So if you're buying in Houston, I think having a garage really isn't optional. It's absolutely needed for protecting your cars. And something that most buyers don't realize until it's too late is that insurance for hail damage in Texas typically starts around 1% of your home's value. It can go up to 2% or greater. So, for a $500,000 home, it could cost you an extra $5,000. So that's not a fun surprise to find out, especially after the hailstorm or as far as deductibles may go. So I want to really reiterate about flood zones, but you definitely want to check if you're in a flood zone, because flood insurance would be an additional on top of that. Although, they may not require it, it's just based on the area. And most areas around Houston don't even require it if you're living around even something like a lake. So which Houston neighborhoods really give you the best balance for location and protection from these issues? Well, you've got areas like Katy and Cypress, which really offer, some beautiful surroundings with good drainage, while you've got other suburbs, the Woodlands, Missouri City, and Conroe, that tend to have newer construction with better protection against bad weather, and they've got better drainage systems as well. So the next type of property that can also really create some headaches are homes with shared walls and roofs. So let me tell you what to watch out for. And by the way, my name is Travis, and I've lived in Houston for over 30 years, and I've helped over hundreds of families just relocate here since 2009. So whether you're relocating or buying your first place, my team and I would love to help you make that smooth move here to Houston. Look, I'm not against shared wall properties or against HOAs, especially in single family neighborhoods, but I am worried about townhomes and condos because of what can happen with shared walls and roofs. So these can be just as tricky as those investor flipped homes, and I'll tell you about that next. But what you need to look at first, we can cause you some major headaches down the road. And if I were going to buy a duplex, I would buy a whole duplex. I wouldn't recommend buying half of a duplex, because you share a wall and you share a roof. And if you're not in the HOA area, which most of the time they're not, you could face some serious problems. So just think, if you were hit by a hailstorm and it damages your roof, but your neighbor doesn't want to fix their half, or they can't afford to do that. So their side starts leaking, causing water damage that could, down the road cause issues on your side of the wall, and then you can't make them fix it. And so, what are you going to do about it? It doesn't make sense to fix your wall until you get the roof fixed. And you just can't go up there and fix the roof without their permission. Although I guess they probably wouldn't mind it if you pay for it on your own. But then you've got condos and townhomes that have HOAs. So then you're dealing with a different type of risk, which is special assessments. And if a major repair is needed, like replacing the roof after a hailstorm, the HOA can hit you with a special bill that might cost $10,000 or more with almost no warning. So HOA fees in Houston range of about $250 or over $1,000 a month, depending on the condo or townhome. And they are always going up. They never go down. And I've seen special assessments as high as 20 grand per unit for major repairs, and homeowners have no choice but to pay up. So there's one type of shared wall property that can be a good investment though, which is a well-managed townhome in an established community with a strong and healthy HOA savings fund. So always look at the financial statements of townhome or condo communities before you move into that, because if there's no money in those reserves, you're definitely going to get hit with those special assessments. Now, if it's a good type of HOA, they'll be setting money aside for any repairs or emergencies or mishaps that are going to be happening down the road. All right, so now we're going to come down to the final category of homes to avoid, and they might surprise you because they often look pretty perfect on the outside at first glance. All right, so absolutely never buy an overpriced home, which I know sounds pretty obvious, but with so many flipped houses in Houston, on the Houston market, it's super easy to get swept away by, really beautiful finishes and all these upgrades in a home. But about 10% of Houston homes are now being bought by these big investment companies, and they buy these properties, put some cosmetic updates in them, and then they often list them way above market value. Just because a home has, some fancy new countertops and some nice lighting and a fresh coat of paint doesn't really justify paying more. So what really matters is the condition of the major systems, the foundation, the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, and heating and cooling. And I see this all the time with a beautiful updated home that whenever you compare prices, it's pretty much higher than similar homes in the area. And of course, that great looking kitchen might look amazing in the photos, but it doesn't justify paying 15% more, especially when the AC system is old and maybe the roof needs replacing. But always compare prices of similar homes, but don't let, really nice cosmetic upgrades cloud your judgment. So get through your inspections for any flip property, focusing on the expensive items that investors often leave alone because they cost a lot to fix and you can't really see them that easily. But here's a question you should always be asking about flip properties, and I can see a smart buying strategy is the permits on all of their renovation work. So many flip homes have beautiful updates but no permits, which can really cause a big problem when you try to sell later on or if you need to file an insurance claim. So work done without permits can even be dangerous if it wasn't done right. But imagine they've added a bedroom and you don't get permitted for that, and then you want to go to try to sell it as a 4-bedroom instead of a 3, and you can't justify that on the tax rolls. Plus, if you didn't pay those taxes on that additional square footage over the last year, that's going to be a big problem as well. But now that we've covered the main types of homes to avoid, let's talk about how to use this information to make smart purchases in Houston. So again, the types of homes you should think twice about buying in Houston is with places with foundation issues, foreclosed or condemned properties, mobile homes in a hurricane-prone area, houses in noisy or severe weather spots, have duplexes or shared wall properties without proper protection, and overpriced flips. But here's the good news, just by knowing what to avoid, you're already ahead of most buyers in the Houston market. And with the right kind of help, you can find an amazing home that you'll love living in, and that should be a pretty solid investment. And so, of course, if you're ever thinking about buying a home here in the Houston market, My team and I would love to help you do that. You could just send us an email at trav401k@gmail.com or look in the description below for all of our contact information. And so until next video, we hope to show you around town.